scene of the amino dying. Well, it actually died. It was killed months ago. It's kinda crazy actually. Sha-la-la-la-la, get fucked. All those memories are gone. Rest in peace and or by it. Only filming Amino Acid. The end of the no more. There will be no Amino 2.
What's up, Quacks? Remember Amino? Well, unfortunately, it died. And because of that, I'm going to talk about it in this video because I used to be a mod on 2 Aminos, and there has been a lot of crazy things that I've seen during my time on Amino and as a mod. So let's just dive right into it. So the first Amino is OC Amino, and this is a pretty big one, or it was a big one, and a lot of the stuff I saw was mostly just kids being really weird and stupid pretty much. There was definitely a lot of crazy stuff going on in the chat rooms, but I really can't remember anything specific aside from like this one chat room I had to look over where people were just being wild for no reason. Like I think at one point someone was suicide baiting, and then there was also like slurs thrown around and people just screaming and yelling at each other. It was just really wild. I don't know what was wrong with the kids on Amino. Like it was just so crazy. I also saw a lot of problematic characters. Now I know that a lot of the users were kids, but I feel like if you're a teenager you should have at least a decent understanding that certain things are not okay. Like every time I see historical characters I just prepare myself, because there was a lot of like Nazi characters for some reason, or just historical characters that just had this air of like tone deafness. I was just like, okay, this seems like a teenager who just like got done the World War II history unit in school and they wanted to make a character. Like if that's the vibes that I was getting from a lot of these characters. I also kept seeing some characters drawn with like proportions that felt like it was intentionally trying to be like sexualized, like characters where like their hips and busts were like super wide, and it's like nothing wrong with having a character like that, but there's a difference between someone that looks like that naturally and exaggerating specifically for the purpose of like looking sexual. Like there was some people that I saw that like they had that sort of art style. It's like, this is iffy. Like sometimes us mods would talk about it and be like, do we let this slide or not? And we would mostly be like, nah. But sometimes it would, because it was like they weren't doing anything that was like explicit. It was just the character had really crazy proportions, so we would let it slide, because if they aren't doing things suggestive then I guess it's fine. But I don't know. One instance that I do remember is when COVID happened, and for some reason there was an influx of COVID-based characters. For some odd reason, people were like just okay with making like COVID characters. Like back when Corona-chan was a thing, thankfully she died out really quickly and didn't last throughout the pandemic, because I found that to be really offensive, and not like in a funny offensive way, but just offensive in a, this is really tone deaf and stupid, like this is not cute at all. But there were some people that made Corona-chan based characters as well, and I had to make a PSA. I remember the post. I don't know if I have it saved anywhere, but I remember it because I was like, yeah guys, don't be rude, you know, this is really tone deaf, and you know, this pandemic's pretty bad, so maybe if you want to cope with this in some way, try something else, because a lot of people were trying to pass it off as coping, like with dark humor. And to me, that wasn't really funny. Like, I have a dark sense of humor, but like, there's a time and place for it, you know? And if you're gonna make jokes like that, just make them in like your own little friend groups or something. Like, don't post that publicly, because it was like 2021 or whatever when this happened, so this was not 2023 or like when the pandemic was sort of starting to get a little bit better. This was like early pandemic time, so the fact that people were doing this was kind of wild to me. That's also why I mentioned Corona-chan, because she did not last that long, which is good because she was terrible. But yeah, that was like the one thing I remember from the OC Amino. Now, the Dragon Quest Amino is the other Amino I moderated on, and a lot of my friends watch my channel, so you guys are probably cringing about what I'm about to say, because things definitely did get crazy. The Dragon Quest Amino was where I met a very interesting variety of characters. Now, there are some people that I can't mention just because the stuff that happened with them was just a bit too much and too personal, but there were some instances with some users where it was very brief and weird that I'm okay with mentioning them. Like, for example, there was a parent that joined, and he was like this very strict dad type Like, I remember one time I showed up in the chat and I was just like, oh, good morning, motherfuckers, or something like that. You know, I was being a little edgelord. I was like 18 or 19 when this happened, maybe a little older, but still, I was like a young adult, so like, obviously I'm gonna be a little silly like that. And he was like, how dare you say that in this chat room? My child couldn't see this. And I'm like, okay, so you're on Amino, you're a parent on Amino, and you're worried that your kid, who I think he mentioned was like 4 or something like that. So this kid's probably not even gonna like be able to comprehend what that means. So like, why are you getting so pissy about me just jokingly saying like swear words on Amino? Like, you shouldn't be on Amino anyway. I mean, you can monitor your kids on Amino, but you shouldn't be on Amino like that, like you're a parent. Go watch your kid. Why are you like on Amino not watching your kid? Like, what the heck? But yeah, that dude left pretty quickly. He wasn't around for too long. And then I remember this other user. This was like really early on the Amino. I don't remember too much about him except for this one incident that's a little weird, and I'm gonna have to give a trigger warning because it's like sexual-ish, but like just weird. Basically, I just remember that out of nowhere he just had this image that he sent. I don't know if it was in the public chat or if it was in the DMs, but he sent like this image of our profile pictures, and his profile picture was on this soda can, and then there's this other soda can, and they were like fucking basically. And I don't know what prompted him to send this or why, but he got in big trouble, and eventually he did apologize to me and he left the Amino. I think at one point we like encountered each other on Instagram and he apologized again. Maybe? I don't really remember, but it was just really strange. And that's another thing I remember about Amino in general, is that I was just a victim of like a lot of really weird sexual harassment and just odd comments and stuff. In general, Amino had a lot of creeps on there, so I'm not surprised. Thankfully, all the weird stuff that happened was not when I was a minor. It happened when I was an adult, but like I was like a really young adult, and the people that were doing it were like a lot older than I was. They were like 20 somethings, and I was like still like late teens, like 18 or 19, but still. Anyway, there's this one thing that happened. Now this I remember because this dude was so annoying and so infamous that I love telling this story because it's so funny and also just so wild to me.
I have improved no sushi, thanks to the stupid user on Amino. All he ever did was yap about it. Very crap. People. Thrown acid all kinds of ways. Lost it our fucking time. What a weird documentary.
So, this dude joined the Amino, and he was pretty chill at first, but one thing that we all noticed was that he really liked to talk about this one series called Modao Zushi, and that was fine. We did have a rule that you weren't really supposed to dominate a chat with a topic, because, you know, it's a public chat, so if you wanted to talk about something more in depth, you could go to like another chat. Like if you wanted to talk about media or something or art, you would go to the art chat room. But anyway, the dude kept talking about that series like all the time, and it got to the point where the mods had to step in and be like, hey, can you like stop talking about this series so dang much? You like dominated the chat room and it's like kind of annoying. Well, we didn't say that explicitly, but you know. So we kept telling him like, hey, just relax, and he eventually got really butthurt about it and left, and we're like, okay, whatever. So then he comes back like a few months later, and I immediately recognized him just because the vibes were similar, and the profile picture that he had was one of the characters from the show. I was like, oh gosh dang it, he's back again. So we're all just gonna keep an eye on him, except he got worse. He started to be really annoying about his obsession with the show and the chat. He kept talking about how like this show was the best thing ever, how like it was such great gay rep or whatever, and all this other stuff. And he also started like heckling some people because like one person that we knew was just trying to chat with him normally. He kept trying to force her to watch the show, and she was like, oh, you know, I'm not really into this, but I'm glad you like it. And she kept trying to be like polite, but just clearly expressing disinterest. But he kept pushing. And I'm like, bro, she doesn't want to watch the series, leave her alone. But yeah, he kept bothering her, and we had to keep stepping in to be like, bro, shut the hell up. And he kept getting butthurt about it. So eventually we had to have a confrontation, because at some point he just started going off saying how like this show is the best thing ever and you guys hate this show, so therefore you must be homophobic. Because also he was a gay dude and he was like, you guys are homophobic and racist, because he's also Chinese, and he was like, yeah, you guys suck, you're terrible, I can't believe you're like silencing me and blah 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 blah. And we're, mind you, like our mod group was like basically very like LGBT, so the fact that he was calling us homophobic and racist was like kind of wild, because we were just like, hey dude, you're like dominating the chats and being very annoying about the show that you love. Maybe like shut the hell up for once and like let other people talk instead of talking non-stop about this show. Like that would be nice. But no, he kept talking about that instead. So eventually I had to be the one to talk to him, to be like, hey, can you like just stop? Like, we're tired of this. It's getting really annoying. Like, you're gonna get banned because you're doing too much. So we eventually banned him. And also I remember this conversation because I was tired. I had come home from class. It was a 10 p.m. class. So I was pissed off that I had to come home from school and had to talk to some annoying motherfucker about being obsessed with some show because he wouldn't let it go that not everyone liked it the way he did. And I was just like, I want to go to bed. Just shut the fuck up and leave us alone. And then afterwards, he got his friends to raid the Amino, and they kept making posts saying that we were homophobic and stuff and bigoted, and we banned them too. And eventually, he was gone for good. Now that dude really had a lot of issues. I mean, he was kind of chill for the most part when he wasn't obsessing over that series. But yeah, as a result, I kind of have like a negative association with that series, and I don't know if it's as good as bro was hyping it up to be, but I've never seen anyone so obsessed with the series that they're willing to like basically harass people over it. So yeah, that was a pretty wild story. But I would like to talk about my general experiences with Amino, because despite the mod stuff, there was also some pretty weird things that happened as just a regular user. Like, for example, do you guys remember like the whole art credit thing where in order to make a post, you had to like post your progress, and sometimes you had to like apply for like a title so that way you could post your art without having to constantly post whips and stuff. Like, that was annoying. I remember some Aminos would give you a lot of grief if you like didn't have certain things. It was very irritating. Like, oh my gosh, I remember this one Amino. It was like the Amino for commissions or whatever to like promote them, and this pissed me off so much that I also need to tell this story. So basically, I joined the Amino to promote my commissions at the time, and in my commission post, I just, showed off what I had, and it required that you had like proof of all your stuff, and I did. There was one thing that didn't have like all the proof, but it was enough that, in my opinion, it would have been passable. Now, I don't remember specifically because, well, that post is gone, and Amino is gone, so I can't recover that, but I remember one of the mods had apparently like commented on it and I never got a notification for it, so it was like taken down, and I was really confused because I was like, what did I do? What? So I DM'd one of the mods and they're like, oh, well, I wasn't the one who took it down. I'm like, well, I didn't know, so I just DM'd somebody. So then they told me what the issue was, and I was just like, what? So basically, because I had like a sort of unequal amount of proof for each of the artworks I included in my post, it was taken down. So I think the issue was that for some of the artworks, there was speed paints that I had posted on YouTube, and then I think for the other one, it was like a screenshot of Photoshop with the layers, and I thought that was sufficient enough proof because, the layers showed everything. So I was like, okay, what's the problem? So I just tried my best to fix it, and then I think the post was fixed. And then I deleted the mod's comment, and I know that some people might be like, well, why'd you do that? And the reason why I did it was because, well, I never responded to that comment anyway because I didn't see it, or I didn't get a notification of it, and also because I figured that if people see the mod's comment, they're going to assume that the post was violating some sort of guideline. So I just removed it because I was like, I don't want people to make the mistake of it being a bad post, so I figured that getting rid of the comment would alleviate that problem. So then the mod DM'd me again, was like, what the fuck, why did you get rid of my comment? And I was like, well, I didn't want people to make that mistake of thinking the post was breaking any rules. And then I got a strike, and then I left the Amino because I was like, y'all are power tripping, like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, that was a really stupid moment because what the fuck. And then there was another thing that happened where on one Amino, I had posted fan art of future Trunks. This was on the Dragon Ball Amino. And then for some odd reason, someone stole my art, and then they reposted it as their OC on the Yandere Simulator Amino, and I was like, huh? Why are you posting this on the Yandere Simulator Amino? It's not even like my OC, it's a fictional pre-existing character. So basically you're stealing a pre-existing character and claiming it's your own OC. And I admit that I did not handle it the best, but I was pissed off and annoyed because like someone stole my art and is passing off future Trunks as their fucking character. Like, I didn't want people to think that the art was theirs. And a lot of people were praising the art. I'm like, y'all, this is pissing me off. So the post did get taken down. I had to like join the Amino, and I was commenting and making posts and shit. Like, I was a little mad. I came in a little hot, but again, my art's never really been stolen before, so I didn't really react the best. But I was also like kind of youngish, so like, can you blame me? I think I was in high school when that happened. There were some other things that I just remembered about being a mod that I find pretty funny but also irritating that I remember. Like, people really were desperate to be on the featured page because being featured meant you got like all these followers and likes, and you were basically the star of the show for the day. And sometimes if the Amino was smaller or it just didn't change up the feature page too much, you would be the star for like maybe a few days or even a week. So a lot of people on the Aminos I modded were very desperate to get approval for their post to be featured, and we had to keep telling them you have to put effort into your post. You can't just post some random bullshit and expect it to be featured. Like, some people put in such minimal effort and expect to be featured, and I'm like, you are not getting featured. You put like 2 sentences and you have 1 picture and that's it. That's not going to get you featured. Maybe on like an Amino with like 5 people, but on a meal with thousands of people, no, you gotta put effort into your posts. Why are we gonna feature you? What will you bring to the table? Nothing. We don't serve crumbs here, we serve meals.
Girl, shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that? Bitch, you...
So related to my story about art theft, I feel like art theft was a really big problem on Amino, which I'm not surprised about because it was mostly used by kids and because of the whole art credit thing or providing proof that we had to do. I'm not surprised that people would try to like get away with it. But now that I think about it, the reason why that one person managed to get away with stealing my art was because I provided the proof in the post. So that's probably how they got away with it without anyone being suspicious of it, which is also what irked me. So it's like a double-edged sword, because having like the whips and stuff in your post provides evidence that you made the art, but someone can easily take those pictures and repost it on another Amino and get away with it. So it's so irritating sometimes. I noticed that there were a lot of trolls on Amino as well. A lot of people that would just DM you random dumb shit. Like, this is not just the bots. This is just people being really odd. Like, I've gotten DMs asking really weird questions. Some of them were like sexual in nature, others were just strange. Or people asking for requests, but the requests were weird. I've had a very annoying track record of people asking for really weird art requests from me. I don't know what gives off the vibes from my art that would indicate that I would be okay with some of the things people have asked, but whatever. Oh yeah, role-playing. I don't want to go in-depth with that, but I do recall that I role-played a little bit. There was this one person I role-played with, and for some odd reason I gave them like a bunch of OCs that I had made. I regret it, but then I realized that I had like basically remade them with the batch of OCs that I have currently, which is You Rascal. So like, in a way, I kind of remade them just differently, so like I'm not too upset about it, but I don't know where that person is. They did not have any like socials linked, and a lot of the stuff that we had sent is gone because the Amino got wiped. But I mean, I hope they're doing okay. We kind of like got distant over the years. I think the last time I talked to them was like 2021 probably. So yeah, and I had to go to like another Amino just to talk with them because they were more active there. Because we initially started on OC Amino, and then they wanted to be on the Homestuck Amino, and then I had to move over there, so I was like, okay, I guess. In Amino's twilight years, that's when the bots started to become a huge issue. I noticed that the bots became an issue around like 2020, 2022, or whatever, because I remember at one point the OC Amino had to like quarantine. Very fun word to use when the pandemic was still happening. But we had to do that because there were so many bots entering the Amino that we had to basically close it down so that way they would stop entering. And it got really bad on like the homepage of like Amino itself. Like I remember that thing where they would have like all these chats going on that you would see on the side, and a lot of them were just bots or just weird stuff going on, and like every time I look at them, they're always like banned or whatever. I was like, what is happening right now? And then Amino partnered with Kick, I think, and I was just like, all right, whatever. My friends migrated to Amino in like 2022, but I still used it for like a year, and then eventually we all like left completely. So yeah, we did eventually like abandon ship from the Dragon Quest Amino because that was where my friends were. The other people that I was modding with on the OC Amino, we kind of were close-ish, but like not as close. I wouldn't say I would consider them my friends, but like we were, you know, acquaintances, I guess. Like we played Jackbox at one point, but yeah, we really abandoned ship with that Amino as well because I recall that like gave the titles to some other people. Some of them did stay as mods, but I think a lot of them also just like moved on. So I think everyone just moved to Discord, and that's kind of where things are at now. Then Amino imploded on itself, and a lot of people lost all of their shit, unfortunately. I feel like if Amino was going to like do that, they should have at least given people like a warning or something instead of just like letting it die unexpectedly. Like that's not really fair because a lot of people had things that they wanted to keep, and now they're gone forever. I mean, the app was like really hard to use. Like I remember I downloaded it and like it was just so slow. Like I wanted to scroll through my old posts, and I had to like scroll in a way that was very inconvenient because it wouldn't let me scroll like really fast. It also was heating up my phone because it's a very hefty app, which I never liked. It's one of my biggest pet peeves about Amino, that was really hefty. But yeah, I do miss Amino because I feel like it was a really nice period of my life despite the weird shit that happened. I wish that it had stayed or someone had swooped in and made it better. That should have been what had happened, is that someone should have made it better instead of making it worse. But unfortunately, it didn't get better, and now it's gone. And I really don't want to see some shitty app try to like replicate it because it's not going to be the same. It just had to be, it was one of those you just had to be there moments of the internet. Like it really can't be replicated, and I personally just feel like Discord is better because it felt like a fusion of Tumblr, Discord, and Reddit in a way, because you can make blogs and you can post stuff like GIFs and all that, and you can make your posts very aesthetic and have all of these like cool customization things going on, which I also loved. I love that you could have like GIFs as like your backgrounds for your profile and stuff, and you didn't have to have like a membership like some other sites that make you do that. I thought that was pretty neat. I also love the chat bubbles. I do recall that I did spend a little bit of money to get some of the stuff because I thought it was really fun, and the emotes and stuff. Well, actually, I think they were just called stickers. Like, I do miss that. I mean, Discord is basically like that, except in my opinion, Discord stuff is a little too pricey in my opinion. Like, why the fuck are you all paying like $7 for a frame on your icon? That's too much money for that. It should be like $1. Like, really? I pay $1 for that, but not $7 or whatever, how much it is. But yeah, so I do miss Amino. I liked the little bubble thing it had going on with the communities because there were a lot of niche things I was into, and I think that really contributed to why I was like making so much fan art and fan content in general, was because I feel like Amino really facilitated that. And you could get that sort of thing on other sites like Tumblr or Reddit or YouTube, but it's just not the same because it didn't really, it's just hard to describe why Amino felt different from the other sites and why it just wouldn't work, but it just did, and I really missed that because Amino was really special to me. I met some great people through it, and I wish that it had gotten better, but it didn't. And as a result, we're gonna lose a part of the internet that, despite its many flaws and the amount of people that have experienced some pretty awful shit that I didn't want to get into, I'm really sad about it. Like, I'm happy in a way because a lot of the creeps are not gonna be creeping around anymore, and a lot of the other crazy shit that happened isn't going to be happening anymore. But it also sucks because memories have been taken away. Friends that haven't connected in years are not going to be able to reconnect because they won't be able to remember who's who. Or OCs that were given through Amino are not going to be credited anymore because maybe the owner just only had Amino, and the person that has the character is never going to find them. So it's like, it's gone. It's just such a weird feeling. I mean, there was someone out there who said they're going to like archive everything and post it, but I haven't seen anything about that yet. So I don't know what that's going to be about, but I hope that's true and that we'll finally have like an archive of everything, because I would be pretty upset if everything is gone forever. Like, I had a feeling Amino was going to like implode, and I did like archive some things, and by archive I just meant I went through some posts that I liked and I screen recorded some of the posts by scrolling through, and that was it. There wasn't too many things that I needed to archive, because a lot of the art that I posted I have like already have like in person anyway, so it's not a big deal to me. As for everything else, yeah, it sucks that all the chats and whatnot are gone. Conversations that I remember are only through screenshots now in the friend circle I'm in, but you know what, that's enough for me, I suppose. Like, we can't archive everything. Speaking of which, that is a good thing to remember, is to archive your shit. You know, the internet isn't forever. For some things, like, a lot of sites are going to go down. Things aren't always going to stay around forever. Don't use certain websites like Tumblr for archival things, because sometimes sites might go down, or the sites might not be around forever. So just be careful with what you post, because it may not last there forever. It may seem like it, but you never know with how websites are nowadays. I didn't want to end on too bittersweet of a note, but I at least wanted to give that heads up that, you know, be careful what you post and keep everything archived for yourself personally. With that said, I'll see you quacks later.